seeing not only better. I was like, oh no, they're about to get 3-0.
Hopefully.
No. I mean, they weren't sick.
Oh yeah. Better. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, they weren't sick. Like,
all right, everybody. So, well, yeah. I got off work on time. I'm home on time. I probably lost my wallet again. Hopefully not. Hopefully I didn't lose my wallet again.
And this was a crazy ass weekend. A lot of shit happened. A lot of shit.
Well, let's start diving into it. Well, I would love to dive into it when my actual tab loads up, actually. All right, so a lot has happened this week. A lot of content I do have to drop for you guys. Let's go, baby. Well, what is going on, everybody? This is the Cloud9 podcast, season 7, episode 13. It was crazy because I actually thought about just putting off this entire episode and just doing the LEC and the LCS together, but I forgot there's a reason why we don't do that anymore, because it would just be too much. That's too much to talk about in just one overall show. I don't know how we started doing it fucking all these other years ago. I mean, it's not like our analysis suffered from it, but it's like, that's just a lot overall. But this was a relatively good week that ended off with me losing my wallet. I don't know how that happened, because I thought I had it with me.
And not the first time too.
This is like what, the second time in the last 2 months.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, man. But okay, we'll see what happens. Let me ask James's mom if she found anything. Okay, she's telling me something right now. Okay, so yes, what's up, everybody? Hopefully you guys are having a good day. We just got through finishing the LCS 2023 Spring Split Playoffs, like essentially round 1 with the upper bracket semifinals, and we have the lower bracket, we'll say lower bracket semifinals, right? That's kind of what you would call that. Yeah. I don't know what the LCS stream is calling it, but essentially there's the semifinal brackets for the upper bracket, which is if you made, top 4, you get 2 chances. And if you're 5th, 6th, you only get the 1 chance. For like a general synopsis on what happened in the playoff games, I don't really know, because I have to dive a bit more into them, because I am going to do my recap video as well for like all the series, because I thought about doing like a separate recap video for both upper bracket series. So that's what I initially thought, honestly. But then I realized to myself, you know what? I'm going to probably most likely end up just doing it all together for the LCS as well. So, just so much league content going on. Last night, I watched Gen G play Hanwha Life. Then we watched I'm still going through the T1 KT series. I know the outcome of it, but that was just,
that game 5 was disgusting. That was just literally like T1 was trying to lose and KT just said, nope, it's your turn to win. That motherfucker was crazy. Those, like, I was like, fucking shit, these motherfuckers. I was like, what? I'm like, this shit, I was like, how long this shit? I was like, fucking, like, I mean, a 14-minute clip version is whatever. Watching Kadro watch the whole thing, fucking, it was like a 2-hour video for 5. I was like, damn, this shit's crazy.
4. Yeah, so I ended up going through the Gen G Hanwha Life series. There's so much playoffs going on right now. The only reason that I haven't been catching up with as much is the LPL, because like there's all these series to watch. There's all the LEC games going on. Most of the LEC teams now are locked for the BO3 stage, except, well, either Mad Lions, XL, or Team Heretics. There's no way Mad Lions can miss out on going to the BO3s with XL and Team Heretics.
Didn't I say that Fnatic was looking good? Yeah, you and Warren both laughed.
Okay, to be fair, they started to look good after looking like complete shit.
What happened? Mad Lions didn't look too good. You remember I said, do not be surprised if Mad Lions missed the playoffs. But the issue is, XL is just not good. I'm sorry. Even with Aberdage, they're just not good. Team Heretics, I have no idea what the fuck's going on with them.
What's up, Leon? How you doing, man?
I got no idea what's going on with Team Heretics and Team Vitality. Both of them teams.
Oh my goodness, man. This is because it feels like right now, if you watch all these regions and you kind of have a good basis of how a team plays in, week 1, you would think to yourself, like, okay, like this is how strong this team is. This is their weaknesses. But then come to weeks 2, 3, and whatever, it just kind of feels like none of that matters because the teams they don't play as consistent as they just did, or they're just. I don't think it's playing down to the competition. I think it's just there's so much parity going on with a lot of teams right now. Not even just with LEC or the LCS too. Happens in the LCK too. Like if you've been watching the LCK, because I watched pretty much the entirety of the spring split for them. Like KT were a pretty like dicey team, but then they had like weeks where they looked like really strong based off the caliber players that they had. And then if you just watch the BO5 they had with T1 versus KT, you would think like, man, this team has been probably playing like that for the entire split. It's like, no, they haven't. They definitely have not. They've did some real troll shit. But, like Gen G and then the Hama Life series, right? Hama Life ended up beating Damwon, knocking them down to the lower bracket, right? But then Hama Life just got like fisted by Gen G last night. Like Peanut took his fat meaty cock out and just stuck it all in Clid's ass, Clid. And Clid's, well, he's been bad the whole split. That guy just looks like shit. That guy's been terrible since like week 1. And nothing's changed about that guy. Like Hama Life basically is just, let's just get Viper ahead. And if we don't get Viper ahead, we kind of essentially just lose, which is kind of sad considering they have Kingin and Zeka on their roster too. So yeah, man, like I think the bot lane of Gen G with Pays and Delight actually is pretty legit. They look pretty strong, actually. But since we were talking about the LCS today, I will preference this. I have not got a chance to watch the entirety of the Evil Geniuses and the CLG series. It literally just ended about 30 minutes before we even went live with this particular show, okay? So, but I did see the ending of Game 3 where, like, CLG were clawing back a lead that EG had, but it like even when I was watching parts of
never close.
Like I was watching parts of Game 1 when I was on break, and it never kind of felt like they had an edge in the series, And what's really crazy about this CLG roster is this CLG roster has never won a BO5 with this roster, despite several of their BO3 series, 3 out of the 4 going to Game 5, actually. So the very first series against Cloud9 last year, back when they had Jensen, the LCS 2022 summer split, that went to 5 games. Then they ended up going to 5 games against Team Liquid in that lower bracket where they were 2-0 up, actually, and they lost both those series very close, 3-2. Then after that, you have this year where they also go 3-2 against Cloud9, right there. That was a really weird, sloppy series, which we'll get to later. So yeah, 3 series in a row, back to back to back. They go down 2-3. They can't close it out. Either they start strong and finish weak, or they start strong, or they start weak and then kind of come back, and then it's just a whole bunch of fucking ups and downs with this fucking roster. And then you have today. Today was their like worst playoff result with this roster because the other series were at least close, like the other series were at least like, oh, okay, there was a good possibility and a good chance you maybe could have won this series if you just cleaned it up in a little bit of places. No, today they ended up just losing 3-0 just completely, So I really don't know what it is, actually. It just kind of feels like this roster just can't seem to close it out in playoffs actually, you know?
Yep.
Three of their BO5 series. Well, what's crazy is 2 of them were against Cloud9, and both those went to 5 games. The one against Team Liquid, 5 games, and then after that, today you're playing against Evil Geniuses, and they ended up just dropping 3-0. So I really don't know what CLG are planning to do with their roster come, into the summer split, right? I think that if you can't win a BO5 with this roster, out of the 4 BO5s that you have played with this roster, yes, despite 3 of them being very close, do you potentially make a roster change? Actually, do you potentially entertain that idea, or will they simply just run it back? Actually,
who do you swap though? Who's the most swappable person out of that group? That's the thing.
Like, who would be their weakest performing player?
Yeah, like
I don't. Probably Jungle.
Jungle.
Because I feel like Palfox has played relatively well throughout the split. He's had some off games here or there, but I think he's played relatively okay.
I don't think it's support.
You think Poom should be swapped out?
Yeah.
So then
it's between Poom and Jungle. To me, the only consistent guys on that there was Dokla and Palafox.
Yeah, like I think Dokla is a serviceable LCS top laner for what he is. Like, if you want to try and make an upgrade there, I don't know who you would get outside of potentially maybe you grab like Hanser from TSM, but I don't think TSM will let Hanser go because I think potentially Hanser might start for TSM, come summer split actually, or maybe they try like a 6-man roster with Solo. I don't know yet personally, but just thinking what might happen. For CLG, also what I've noticed with their gameplay is that a lot of it does come down to very, very indecisive decision making. Like when they have the right mindset on how to execute a play, they know what to do, but they'll do it so late into executing a play that it doesn't mean anything because the team already clawed their advantage back. Like in that Cloud9 series, if anyone watched it fully through, yes, it was sloppy back and forth, but CLG had various moments in there where they could have capitalized way more on what they were doing. Yeah, overall, it did kind of look like C9 were the better team overall when you're looking at just gameplay-wise. But there are moments there they could win. They could simply push more, do more, and just actively push their champions specifically to the limit of what they're actually doing, right? That's just kind of what I saw that I think that they need to work on. And I don't think this gets any better for them, really. Like, the roster's been together for what? This would actually equivalent to a pretty much almost a year, right?
Yeah, this is like their third split.
Because they've had the core 4 players together since spring of, was it last year? No. Summer split, they had Dokla because he came in that, was it 2022, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for CLG in the LCS 2022 spring split, I remember that because that's when Evil Geniuses won, because they had a different top laner. They had Jenkins, and they brought in Dokla for summer. So the 4 players of Contracts, Palafox, Luger, and Puma have been together literally for essentially a year, and now a year and 3 months. Dokla's been there for about 6 months holistically. So there's been a good amount of time with these core 4 players, actually. And I know people are probably going to rag on, Luger for their losses, but realistically, guys, when you're playing ADC, and this is when to play a lot of ADC, if there is not a way your team is playing to give you like enough space to get enough of your damage out, then you're just not going to look that good, because not only if your team is not peeling for you very well, then that auto locks you into self-peeling ADCs like Xayah, or an ADC with an escape that you can get out with, right? So I think the reason why Luger went with why CLG went with the Xayah Rakan bot lane in the final game is because they realized that if Luger has maybe some self-peel, because maybe Poom's not really good at self-peeling for his ADC, or maybe that the team itself just can't really self-peel for their ADC enough and protect him in team fight to let this guy do enough damage, then he has to be on a champion like that himself. But there's also been various games from CLG throughout the split where their drafts look really bad. Like, their drafting has been a crutch of theirs for a while. Like I get it. You want to kind of give the player you have agency, right? I understand that, but there's a certain period point in time where they're trying out all these like compositions that realistically, like if you can't even play really easy compositions like this, it's like there really isn't much hope. Like I wouldn't really necessarily suggest a roster change, but I think the only way to kind of shake things up with the roster is if you do. Now, I don't doubt that CLG wouldn't make a roster change. I mean, they made a roster change from when they were talking about doing that full developmental roster bullshit in 2022 last year in spring, where they had like Jenkins and he was like fucking dog shit, and they swapped him out because they were developing him. Yet, they swapped him out when they had the chance to, because people just bullshit you guys. They just talk out their ass half the time. Yeah. For CLG, if I'm going over like the Cloud9 series, since we're on CLG, because I know people are going to want to talk about 100 Thieves later on because they are also out too. So your top 4 now for this LCS 2023 spring split is Cloud9, Evil Geniuses, and FlyQuest. So at least if that was your top 3, you got your top 3. It was kind of janky how it got there, but it got there. And then your 4th seed is Golden Guardians. So Golden Guardians, even if they lose to EG coming up, on I think they're playing on Friday, right?
Yeah,
even
Friday.
if they lose on Friday, they still made top 4. I mean, that's actually the highest placing this org's ever had. And since they won against 100 Thieves on Saturday, that was actually their very first playoff win in history so far for the LCS. That was their first playoff win ever. They've only ever been to the playoffs 3 times, and this was the first playoff series that they actually won. Also, fun fact for that Golden Guardians 100 Thieves series is Stixxay and Huhi stopped Double from winning again together, because back during the LCS 2016 spring split, Double faced off against Huhi and Stixxay when he was on TSM, and he also lost to them in a best of 5 series that also went the distance with Stixxay pulling out a really big play. It's crazy how that works, It's crazy also because Doublelift also beat Golden Guardians with Huhi back when it was the LCS 2020 summer split, and then that's when Huhi went to 100 Thieves, because 100 Thieves ended up buying that Golden Guardians roster of Demonte, Closer, FBI, and Huhi. So lots of weird synergistic things there. All right, let's go over the Cloud9 CLG series. So as someone who obviously loves Cloud9, they played exceptionally kind of janky in those games. I mean, a lot of people would probably go like, Cloud's gonna win. Yeah, I didn't think in my mind they'd lose. I didn't think that was a possibility, but that's not a reality when you're actually watching the games. When you're watching the games, you're going like, there's probably a good chance that they could lose here in a good amount of these games. Now, what I think really hurt them is Blabber. Like, he definitely did play poorly, but him being on Maokai didn't help either. I don't know why you choose to put Blabber on Maokai. Like, it's the same thing I talked about when Mithy put Menace on Victor. It's like, he just isn't good at Victor. He's just not good at Victor, like, at all. Like, it's one of those things where Menace is just not good at Victor, so giving him Victor is just going to result in potentially a loss. The same thing happened with the series where, Menace got a chance to play Jace. His Jace games, despite dealing a lot of damage, he's always dying when it's not in the most inopportunistic way, right? And I do think that CLG, and I do think that CLG gave C9 that reality check that they needed, actually, and that's crazy because this is what I've always told people is that, despite, okay, hold on. Oh my Lord. So this is what I've also said. So in spite of like some teams just being a bit better just by player strength, there are some teams that just played well into other teams. It's just how the nature of, competition works, actually. So for Cloud9 overall, it's actually very good that they had a close series like that against CLG, to the point where they could understand, okay, this is literally not what we do with our carry jungler. Our carry jungler should not be on Maokai. It was on Maokai multiple games in the series. Like, there was a game where he was, because I'm on game 4, he for sure was on Maokai. Game 1, he was on Maokai. Game 2, he got a chance to play Lee Sin, and he took his cock out and just shoved it in Contract's ass with Lee Sin, because that's one of his best champions. And Contracts at the end of game 2 is like 0-3 on Elise. Blabber did exceptionally well in that game on Lee Sin, but they reverted back to him on Maokai. 3 games on Maokai, 1 game on Lee Sin. When he played Lee Sin, that was his best game, because obviously that's just gonna be what happens when you put your carry jungler on one of his best champions. I think it was just drafting mistakes too from them. A Menace is not that good of a Jace player. I get the man's trying his ass off, but it's looking like pretty rough out there when this guy plays Jace. It's look pretty bad. And he really only plays like those 2 selected champions bad, which is Jace, and they've never given him Victor again. So thank God for that. Kind of want to see that shit again. He played like Yone better. Yone and Jace are about, I don't say even on skill terms in terms of champions, but relatively high skill cap champions, right? So I'll ask you, man, what did you think about the Cloud9 CLG series?
Cloud9 slightly did get exposed. That Menace is their weakest link. I mean, that's the obvious, but you gotta bend. A lot of times you gotta bend towards a Menace and then let everybody around you have to beat you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing. Like, you gotta make them get put on Jace or whatever other champion, as well as what. It's like because it's okay. You don't, and you gotta keep further away from carry tanks. That's why it's like, it's kind of hard to go for against C9.
Mm-hmm.
And CLG just looked outmatched the whole series. They did look a lot better than people expected, but in my opinion,
the problem here is I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think it's one of those cases of you don't expect anything from them, so if they do actually play better than you expect, it's like, are they that good, or do we just have our expectations a little too low for them, right?
I think both teams that got 100 seasons CLG kind of overperformed, in my opinion. Because look at how they ended the regular season. I mean, they did win games, but most of the season, EG and Golden Guards were better, but they just had like crap weeks. It was one of those things where.
One sec. No, it's one of these things where, what's the best way of going over it? Because I think people are looking at that too. Is like, how could like 100 Thieves finish the split essentially? What 7-0, right? With the tiebreakers. Yeah. Well, the thing here is, even in those wins, because I still may make sure I mentioned this when I was doing those recap videos, is most of that just came from closer and double lift. A lot of that did. I think Busio played 2 good games, maybe good if you consider like just what those champions
2 good, do. 2 great, 3 good.
That Rakan game he had against TSM was actually really good. I don't know.
That's how he plays Rakan. That's what clutched it out for him.
And that Renata game he played was actually pretty good.
Like, he's actually good on Renata, but
yeah, and like I think, and that Blitzcrank game he had was great. I was like, so it's not that he's incompetent. It's not that he can't. He's inconceivably can't play well. What do you do with that then? Maybe they just don't want to let a rookie outshine them. It would have to be that, right? But if I'm looking at both of them, because I've been critical of them the entire split. I like Tenacity. I think it's because I really don't know. And I took this. Losing someday was going to hurt them. Like, it was just going to hurt them. And that's what you kind of get when you opt into a rookie. Now, this is what you get when you go to rookie problems is, how are we going to fix these issues? Because these are the issues he has, and now he has to fix them. Like, remember one of the games, dude? He bought fucking Merc Treads when he should have bought a more tankier item when they're fighting at Rift Herald. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what is that? You can't do that.
What
You just
champion
can't.
was that?
He was playing Scion, remember? He chose to buy Merc Treads with his gold instead of buying a more tankier item so he could live longer.
I watched that game. No, that made at that moment it made sense. I was like, wait, it didn't make sense. It to a certain degree it made sense because
that was game 1 against FlyQuest. That must have been. I think it was game 1. Yeah, that was game 1.
It made sense, but it made sense. But the issue with the Mercury Trends is not that he got it when he got it. I think he should have got that a little earlier, as soon as he was able to get it.
Yeah, because Scion already has kind of good inherent mobility by himself anyway.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, remember he was playing, or was it Cho'Gath? It was a Cho'Gath game, or was the Scion game? He made some very, very poor item decision making.
It was like the Cho'Gath, I think.
The Cho'Gath game, he bought Heartsteel first. What? This man's trying to kill people and he's buying Heartsteel. Like, I'm just trying to figure out, like, what in the world is going on with his itemization, and I think it's also for the 100 Thieves team is like they really inherently built into that, like, we got to protect double lift, strategy because on the stats it'll say like he had like 100 plus more CS than all of his teammates. Well, the stats aren't going to show you that they literally swap them constantly in their games, so they would pick. I really don't know why they. God. Okay, so there's a lot of things to go over. So first of all, let's start with just the draft, not the play itself, the draft. They lost. They went 0-4 on Jinx Thresh in 4 games. Well, 3 games to start. Then against Golden Guardians, they thought to themselves, hey, we'll just play Jinx and Thresh again. It's like, what the fuck? It didn't work 3 times. They were already 0-3 on it the first 3 times. Now they're going to try it again? That's already like, what in the world? That's my problem right there is now they're just predictable. Now they know every champion you're essentially going to pick. You have to ban Closer, Viego, and Lee Sin out. You have to do that. Because remember in the Golden Guardians when they gave him Viego, we just butt fuck them. Yeah, okay, you really can't give that guy Viego because he's just cracked on that champion. For some reason, when he plays Viego, the game's just over and it's done. Which I think should also work for Xin Zhao too, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Bjergsen is still picking Zillion. And they're like, okay, FlyQuest is like, we'll just pick Veigar then. So Zillion, none of what Zillion does is useful because Veigar will just one-shot him. Veigar kites him better, and Veigar has better zoning than Zillion in idealistic team fighting scenarios. So there was also the game where people keep bringing up, how did FlyQuest come back in that game when they had the 6,000 gold lead? It's very simple, my friends. It's all about keeping track of other things. So League is not just a game about inherently trying to kill people, okay? It's also how you get better at the game, is that you keep track of what your opponent is doing. So someone's like, how can you do that? Isn't that pretty hard to keep track of? Well, you already keep track of, well, to be fair, when you're playing League, you keep track of a mini-map, you keep track of where your opponents are at, you keep track of warding. There's already enough you have to track, that tracking this is going to be an added extra thing here. So I hope anybody who's out here to understand this concept basically. So when you fight someone and you have them blow their ult, okay? The concept of it is now in your mind, you have to think, does he have this again? So you would like count on not counting your head because there's a timer on the map, right? So you count, okay, 30 seconds from now, he's probably going to have his ult up again, okay? That's one thing you need to keep track of, right? Now, when it comes to mages like Zillion or Orianna or Tylea, they're going to get their abilities a lot faster because their itemization directly pulls their cooldowns massively shorter. It's actually better for mid lane that you really calculate when their cooldowns are coming off, because you need to know when they're at, because they're very, very important. And right, it would happen pretty much right here toward the bottom pit where everyone's talking about. So here's the problem with how the others is set up. First of all, when you win a fight like this, the game should already essentially be over. I think 100 Thieves comp is better in this isolated scenario when you add in Orianna and Xin Zhao together with Sion. Like, this is a better comp overall. But the backline access from FlyQuest is way better. And my backline access is better than 100 Thieves' access because 100 Thieves team has to frontline and fight you. They're having their Jinx be the DPS in the backline with your Orianna, with the ball on her, and who could just shockwave you if you get close to her. Now, adding in FlyQuest's comp, now you have Wukong, who can just knock you up, and Cassante. So if they get back there to them, actually, they're just going to kill you. And the way to get back to Jinx, as they figured out, is if we have Wukong, he just does his W where he can throw out 2 people, or Wukong just flash ult. There's literally nothing you can do. Also, this is why I say you have to keep track of this stuff. You have to keep track of when your opponent has an ult and when they have their summoner spells up. They're fighting with Doublelift right now. He doesn't even have his flash. He doesn't even have his ghost. He's already on Jinx with pretty much no mobility outside of those chompers. How is he going to escape them? Even if he wanted to escape, he can't. He would have to probably play even further back than that. He would have to probably play like right here where my mouse is at. You need to play right there essentially to be like actually considered safe. He doesn't even have his ghost. He doesn't even have his flash. And then look at what I think it was a Busio. No, not it wasn't him. It wasn't him. So Tenacity is focusing on Prince with Closer, when in reality, if you just focus on Jinx right there and keep her alive and protect her, you're gonna win the game, essentially, right? Then I want people to watch what Impact did. Impact and Spica played these fights very well. Impact saved his ult right there, actually used it to actually pretty much chunk Doublelift out with the 2 shots of his ult that he has, and then you just have Spica knock him up and you just kill him. Like, I want Spica and Impact definitely save FlyQuest here. If you accurately go back and look at this, it's all Impact and Spica right here. Because Vikla wastes his Talia ult. I don't know why he ulted right there. That was just trolling as fuck right there. Look what Spica does. Spica zones 3 people right here. Okay, Spica zoned 3 people with his ult, and him and Spica dived in back there to kill Doublelift and Beerson together. Beerson still didn't even use his shockwave properly. Okay, Beerson has a shockwave and is frontlining as an Orianna. What are you doing? Like, this is why he said they had the worst mid laner in the playoffs by far. He's been trolling almost the entire split. He has his ult right there. He has a shockwave. And this guy is frontlining as a mage against 2 tanks. They're not even protecting Beerson either. Beerson obviously can't shockwave properly because, well, to be fair, that's not all team mechanics. That's the team not understanding who you need to protect at that current moment in time. And also, Beerson was way too far forward anyway. Don't know why he's in the middle of 3 people when nobody knocked him up. Beerson also doesn't have his flash when they're fighting this too. That's why they lost his team fight. That's why they came back. Their main 2 carries did not have their summoner spells, and they did not keep track of Cassante and Wukong's ult. This one right here, I think this was the fight before, because they had a few fight. I think they had a fight after this. I think I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah. Okay, so this is like, so they start up Baron, because realistically, 100 Thieves, even with that loss, still could probably maybe, if they burst down Prince and kill Ayla, they could probably still win this, right? Yeah, you probably don't want to use all your abilities on the fucking Cassandra, but look how good Impact is frontlining here. Impact is soaking up everything. Okay, he already tanked the Jin Zhao W and Q. He already tanked the Orianna ball, and he already is zoning off using the box from Thresh, actually. So Impact, the MVP for FlyQuest so far. They already blew a lot of their shit on what's his name? On Impact. They have nothing left. Also, Double had his flash up. This guy had his flash up and somehow still died. Doesn't even make any sense. He had his flash up. He could flash anywhere out of here, and he has his flash. Flash, save yourself. He doesn't do it. Obviously, he probably still might die, but why are you holding on to it? Tenacity flashed over that wall, yet he could have just stayed longer and fight. Tenacity is leaving the fight so early. Why is Tenacity leaving the fight early? Why? Why is he leaving? Why is he not staying here? Why is he flashing over this wall when there's 3 of them who they could probably maybe still have a good shot at turning this around. Also, they win it, but it's a lot better when you have your tank there to help you. It's like, what? It's like, I don't know. They've had a problem with this the entire split, which is front to back team fighting. They've had this problem the entire split. Then he TPs back when there's no reason to TP back here. They're already all chunked out. You might as well just keep pushing mid at that point. Him coming back here won't mean anything. They're already all chunked out. There's literally nothing he can do here. I don't know why Bjergsen's here either, but whatever. So that was the entirety of the FlyQuest series. All right, man. What do you think about this series first before we go to the Golden Guardians one?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of burnt out from watching these series. I watch enough of them. Like, yep.
What do you think the main big problem is, though? I mean, I know I highlighted like a lot of shit because that's just the stuff that I'm just seeing. There are probably more that I haven't even noticed, obviously. It's like, well, why is Closer going in, not popping his Gore Drinker? Guys, he has Gore Drinker in that fight. He's even pop it. It's like, what the fuck is going on? And then
you don't want to pop someone. It's kind of pointless to use it. I feel you're like you're sitting there like, when would you use it when you're getting chunked down like by like 3 shots?
It's like I agree with people. This is a game that they realistically, in theory, should still win.
Nah, because FlyQuest was scaling with them. Even though that they had 4 Drakes, it was
like Double F has what, an extra item over Prince here. Like if you look at this, Double has an extra item over Prince, so essentially he's gonna still put out more damage. Like Prince just got his Lord Dominic's before they got this Baron too. That's just the crazy thing. Like they have every opportunity to still play out the game a bit better. It's just like I can't call that choking because I think they just misplayed their team fights. Also, you shouldn't be like he still has Flash here. I would say, yeah. Well, no, that was actually good on. That was actually more better on Spica to do that. But yeah, they kept having their backline get obliterated. The backline access of K'Sante and Wukong is just disgusting. That is just gross.
That was the thing too. Once FlyQuest picked up Wukong, it was like, oh shit.
Yeah, once they figured out if they just throw their top laner and their jungler at the backline, all they had to do, they didn't got probably just all they had to do was just make sure that Doublelift cannot focus on our carries. If we throw our tanks at them, do basic front to back team fighting, and that's it. The Golden Guardian series is weird. That's a weird one to talk about.
That was a back and forth series where
that's in their hands. That's a series that also is. I will say this though, Golden Guardians won, but that was pretty much in their hands. Only in North America can Azeri get in front of people like that and essentially not die. If I swear to God, if Pays or fucking Gumayushi played Zeri like that, they would be the worst ADCs in the LCK. Only in this region can that never go punished. Like, people said, oh, Stixay's play was really good. You should never be able to get that off. Never. Especially when Bjergsen is on Talia. What? That should never happen. That should never, ever, ever happen. Talia literally has that giant rock she throws up. So if Zeri does that,
wasn't up. At the moment, one of the moments they wanted up, yeah, that's why he couldn't do it.
Also, I do love when the LCS pulls out these picks. You know, because there are a lot of champions in solo queue that we all play. I would love if the LCS maybe. I just like it when they pull out shit like Blitzcrank. It's just always fun. You know, I love when they pull out that shit. And it's like, wait a minute, 100 Thieves, they brought the edge in. They were like, okay, Brucio, can you please just attempt to do more shit? Can I Blitzcrank? Cool. It's a more simpler Thresh. So there's so for Hook champions, the three, the Trinity, we have Blitzcrank, Thresh, and Nautilus. Thresh is the more mechanically intensive one out of all three of them, and Blitzcrank is pretty brain dead. Blitzcrank literally is you hook and you explode motherfuckers. He fists you all in your ass, all up in there, and he just blows you out. That's it. So they literally gave Busio like, hey, can you play Blitzcrank? And then he's like, you know what? I'm also doing dog shit in the series too. I'll play. All right, he's like, two can play that game. I'll play it too. Of course, I don't think he played it as well as Busio did.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, that if 100 Thieves are doing draft prep like that, and that's their secret weapon. Their secret weapon was the Blitzcrank. That's their secret weapon. Why not have Busio prepare another champion? Because I personally think if they threw another wrench into Golden Guardians' plans, it's a good chance the series goes their way. They were like actually thrown off by how to play against a Blitzcrank. And Blitzcrank is one of those champions where it kind of does warp the way about how you play the game.
Because he knows how they play. He played the same style last year. Literally. Because
Hui's edge was, remember, the set support? Well, you can't play set support against Blitzcrank. You're trying to just auto-lose? You auto-lose playing some shit like that. Like this is the 100 Thieves that I thought I was going to get in this series. Because I genuinely thought they were going to win the series. Honestly, I thought they'd win the series overall. I had them winning it.
Yep.
So right here, when it comes to draft, Golden Guardians, and like I'm thinking like Golden Guardians is trolling in one of these games. In game 3, they had banned Lee Sin and Viego the entire time. The entire time they did. And they're like, you know what? In game 3, you know what? Let's really see if he's really good on Viego as he really is. Bruh. I swear, some of these drafts are so troll. How do you know a person is so good, you're still banning their shit out? And that in that one game, you're like, you know what? we'll give it to you. You're not really that good at Viego. Are you fucking retarded? If you do some shit like me, if I was on stage, you did that, I would get off that stage, come fuck your bitch, and make you play that game out because I'm not playing that shit. Remember, it's that bullshit that fucking Golden Guard. Remember, but 100 Thieves did it too. Nuke Duck drafted Victor into Silas. Actively, he saved Bjergsen a counter pick, and he gave him Victor against Silas. Bruh, I swear these teams were win trading.
Oh yeah.
I still don't even think 6A played that well in the series either. I think Golden Guard's bot lane played good.
Oh no,
overall.
Bot lane played like trash. The only like I said, it came down to like the last two team fights. It was one of those things where it's like when it's like in the game chess where your opponent does an unexpected move that you don't know how to counter because you've never seen it before, and that's what it was. They were doing stuff that was like what 100 Thieves like, what the fuck are they doing? And then
also, this game, if you go back and watch before they killed Tenacity, this is disgusting. This is unacceptable. He is he has 3 CS, and Licorice has 16. Now I understand it's like 3 minutes in. He can with like a few ways you catch it up, but like that is concerning. Before the dive comes, he has 3 CS. Licorice has 16. He's level 2 at like what the hell? You like I don't want to say nerves got to him, but it looks like he was just so out of his element. Because remember, the thing about 100 Thieves in the 7-game win streak is people have to factor in it's a 7-game win streak in BO1s. Now in a BO3 in a BO5 situation, that's just gonna be a whole lot different because adaptation is key in best of series. In BO1s, it's not really more about adaptation, it's more about can I just get a better draft to get me through my fucking game right now, even if I have the worst players on paper, you know? I don't know why teams still try to play Lucian Nami. I mean, I think they played it like okay. I mean, overall, I mean, you can't really mess up Lucian Nami when Gory is on Galio and Licorice is running down people. I think Licorice, when they did give him resources, he actually did look good. I don't know why that wasn't a more better idea for a strategy to play for them throughout the split, but I mean, I guess. I mean, this was back and forth, and I swear, you can't prove these guys are win trading, but god damn, it sure felt like it. And it was the game 3. The game 3 where Busio played. It was game 3 where he played the Blitzcrank. That was already GG. If Jesus Christ. That's why I say, why can't people pick like shit like that more and throw people off? These are legit picks. If you can play Nautilus and Thresh in the meta, you can for sure play Blitzcrank. Like, this is just a busted comp in general. I don't know how. First of all, I don't know how Viego is just let through, but you're willing to ban his Lee Sin and his Wukong. Make it make sense to me, please. And they saved one of their bans for Bjergsen. I would ban anything of Bjergsen's. It's shown that if you banning none of his champions will relatively do anything, honestly. But I did like what Busio did early on with the Blitzcrank. So what actually happened was this fight right here. So he pulls in, Huhi gets immediately killed, and that's all you need. More simple. If they need this level of simple comps to win, I would have just kept fucking doing it. I would just keep doing it. They lost the 4th game because Tenacity got so far behind it just didn't matter.
Yeah.
You can't be playing like that. Like that's like if you play a game, like I think me and Chaz had it, where a Blitzcrank was so retarded, man, fucking kept with respawn, flash, hook, die. That was his plan. You can't win with that. You're essentially playing 4v5.
We're shooting at we're killing minions. This motherfucker just run right past us, and then he'll come up, and then his timer to come back up comes up. You're like, this motherfucker just killed himself again. Motherfucker.
Then we had that one guy who said he couldn't dodge. I click in a different place than you're standing right now, please. Like, I don't know. Just, that's all you need to do. And I do agree with you on some point. Giving like the Zeri a lead against the Lucian Nami bot lane that early on, it only matters if they keep doing it.
Yeah,
that's the problem though. Getting one gank off and being successful can translate into a win, but it also doesn't inherently mean much when you give that person that resource and give them that kill to give them that gold. If they don't actually do anything else with it, and they don't actually push their advantage from their advantage that you gave them, it essentially just going to be kind of washed later on. Also, what hurt them in game 4 is that they drafted Zillion again against Galio, because it for sure worked against Vagar. So let me just pick it against Galio. It's like, what?
Zillion made sense with the comp they were trying to do, where it was like literally this.
He speeds them up. They all in. He revives them. Yeah, I got the point of it. I just think that can't work against a Galio. It won't matter. Galio
I think the issue that made it was because they also drafted Wukong and Nami. That Nami does the bubble. That doesn't fucking matter. It's like, okay, cool. You want to speed everybody up? I'll just do the wave. And then you got
Galio. Immediately when he drops in, they have to disengage. Once Galio channels his circle ult that he does, they all have to disengage. You cannot.
And then you got
all of them are squishy. They can't fight him.
And they got Wukong with the clone. That's a fucking rap.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they put Tenacity on Gragas.
He was their disengage. He'd be like, so if Galio did ult in there, even if Tenacity gets knocked up, he can just Gragas to just do his cast to knock him back. But the problem here is, even if Tenacity does his Gragas cast to knock any of those guys back, you would knock in the Olaf to your 80s to your 3 squishy champions. That's not good. Yep. That's not good. It basically showed you that Golden Guardians drafting got a bit. They got a bit better as the series went by.
It got better because it was like, okay, all we gotta do is just counter pick everything they're doing. It's like, okay, let's put them on champions they're good on, but then let's pick champions that beats their good champions. That's what it was. It was literally just we're going to let them outdraft us, or in a sense, let them get their strong champions, and then we'll just counter those. That's what it was. They knew upright they couldn't beat them if they try to just pick what they wanted, because then one of the teams would just counter them. They did the reverse. I was like, fuck. I saw that where it was like, I remember like someone, like when I was playing support, someone would counter me, ban my luck, then I would have to go for like a tanky support and fucking Thresh, but I'm not good at Thresh. I was like, fuck, I could go Nautilus, but I was like, I'm not good at no, I'm good at Nautilus. I'm just not like decent, and I'm not playing.
The thing here that you brought up is like, okay, so Tenacity does his Gragas cast and it knocks them backwards. If someone ever did that to me in a solo game, I would report you to the FBI. You knocked back a Galio and a Wukong and a Olaf to your Zeri, Lulu, and Vi. And your Zillion, who needs space to do his bombs.
Yeah.
And then there's game 5. So let's talk about game 5. Game 5, I'm watching this.
Yeah, I watch it. I'm
watching this live, and I'm like, all right, this is their series. It's over. Getting a lead that big in a game 5 should just be like, that should already tilt someone. You're like, fuck, we're just fucking finished. You know, if you do that to anybody in most, like, even in traditional sports, you're in a game 5 scenario, you get a lead that big, that's pretty much just GG in most cases.
But then don't forget, it's like, I thought it, I was thinking about it. Okay, they got this. It is
like they can't. You really can't fuck it up being this far.
You can't fuck it up, but then I'm still thinking 2016, 2004, and 2017, and all those guys come the biggest comebacks in their sports. LeBron James 3-1, Red Sox 3-0 against the Yankees, and the Patriots come back 20-3 within like a quarter and a half.
You know what's crazy is that River, this was his worst game in the series.
Oh no, River was.
You can tell right there. He was like, "Fuck, I'm just."
River was absolute awful.
Like, I can't really blame Gory. He played. The score won't show this, but he actually played pretty. He played the situations and the team fights very well.
Gory and Cassante was actually a smart pick.
They actually gave Licorice, Gwen, Olaf, because they realized, hey, if 100 Thieves aren't going to give their top laner any carry champions and just give them tanks, well, why not we just give our top laner carry champions? And carries, I mean, like, we're talking like Gwen and Olaf. Yeah. We're pretty decent carry champions there. Like, that Olaf game essentially stole him a game. I remember the game he just ran at them and just ulted. They all just sprinted away. I was like, fuck, that is disgusting.
Yep.
So right here is where it turns. All right, so Busio, he's frontlining. He's safe, protecting double lift right here. They stole it. They got the drag in. Golden Guardians, 50-50 the Baron. They're like, okay, we might lose if we don't do anything. So they're like, fuck it. Let's just do it. Literally, guys, if they don't actually do this, they lose anyway. So it doesn't matter. So they actually get it. They actually get their 50-50 Baron off. And then you have Tenacity, who's frontlining decently well. He's taking a lot of damage. And then they actually chose to go on to closer, and they disengage. They get the Baron. Remember, guys, 100 Thieves are winning the series, and they it's just another issue here. They're winning the game from their map position. All 3 lanes are pushing for them. They have better items right now. They're stronger relatively to Golden Guardians, and they still felt like they couldn't fight them right now, even though they've been winning every team fight the entire series. I don't know how that makes any sense.
Golden Guards was scaled up. That was the thing too.
And remember, what did they lose on, guys? What did fucking Double Lift and Busio lose on in Game 5? Thresh and Jinx. Did they win? Have they won a game yet with the Thresh and Jinx? Did they win a game with this?
Jinx, yes, but not Thresh. Thresh is
yeah. If Jinx and Thresh together, Dave 0. That'd be 0-5 on this shit.
The issue is like what other champion do put them on? They need something.
Aphelios, I think he could play unless he's not comfortable on Aphelios.
I'm not. Who? Busio?
No, Double Lift on Aphelios because he didn't pick Aphelios at all ever in both their series. And that's an ideal champion for their team, right?
Aphelios on this patch is weird. A lot of people
but you would think like based off their team, like that's the perfect champion.
Yeah, but not on this. Apparently, there's been people saying that Aphelios is a pick on this patch.
Oh yeah.
He didn't get nerfed, but his items are like he's not the optimal champion. Aphelios is a counter pick. Mm-hmm. You gotta see what they draft 80 carry to see if you draft Aphelios. I'm like,
give me 1 second. Let me text this person.
And you're looking at it, you're like, ah, shit. It was the team fights. I'm like, fuck. So I was like, and I was like, man, I gotta rewatch this shit Sunday night. I ain't trying to rewatch this shit. I was like, fucking shit.
Give me a second. Okay. I'm just texting that person. Like 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second.
I was like,
okay. Shoot. Then I know. Okay, now. Okay, I know where my wallet's at now. If it dropped out, fuck it. I'll just reorder it. I'll just re-get everything. Yeah. What a fucking month this has been. All right, so what was I gonna say? All right, so 100 Thieves lose on Jinx and Thresh again. I don't know why they keep trying it. And what's really crazy is that they're winning this game finally with it, and I just don't get it. Like they are really set on Jinx Thresh.
Yeah.
Jinx Thresh. They have 2 games where they're winning with it, but they can't win with it, even when they're in winning positions. Shoot, I know where it's at. To that place. It's like I just don't get it. I just can't fathom it in my head. Like that's why after they lost, there's like they just look like they're just fucking done. They're like, oh, let's just get the fuck out of here. It's it. Like I won't say I feel bad holistically, but you just look at their faces.
Yeah, like, it was no. Trust me, everyone of the Seas fans just literally turned off Twitch and YouTube. We were like, yeah, not watching this shit. I was done after the T fight where they lost. I'm like, fucking shit.
Yeah, like, ooh, man, like you see Bjergsen and Double Lift going, yeah, this is just not gonna work because they keep because it's the play style. They have no other play styles. They have no other drafting advantages, and their front to back team fighting is relatively bad, and they don't know how to utilize their rookies.
But I'm not gonna say. But bring it back to what you said. I'm not gonna say losing someday was bad because someday he would play better than Tenacity, but I don't think like it's like with the whole thing last year.
Oh no, I'm talking about like integrating the style into him. Like, what style do you want out of him? You know, because I felt like they knew what they wanted of someday. I don't know what they want out of Tenacity. They just want him to play tanks. It's like, okay. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, that can work. I mean, we're in the LCS here. That anything can work here, right?
Yeah, the issue is,
but they have no secondary carries. They have no secondary carries. Like, you can't count on Beerson to carry some of these games. This man looked cracked out. This man snorting crack. He played horrible. I was sitting there going like, damn, this is bad. And people have said, run the roster back. Sure, go ahead. You can. I mean, to be fair, they did finish, what, third, right?
Third, yeah.
They finished third in the split. I mean, they did manage to pull it together. So I don't know, honestly. Like, someone said, swap out Doublelift with Unforgiven. It's like, was Doublelift really their problem? Was he? I mean, yeah, he had a relatively limited champion pool. Doublelift said, oh, yeah, they banned out all these champions against me. Oh, my Lord. It was literally against teams that they're supposed to be better than. How does that even make sense?
But
how does that make sense? Like, yeah, bad teams banned out your better champions because they can't play with them at all.
Well, let's be honest. Wasn't 100 Seeds better than any of these teams? Or did
yeah.
Because that's the thing. Everything after Flyquest was literally a coin toss. Because CLG was better than 100 Seeds, but then 100 Seeds ended up beating them. But Golden Guards was better than 100 Seeds, but it was one of those teams where it was like they got hot at the right time and beat all of them. But it was like,
because I think that in the 100 Thieves Golden Guardian series, the stomps from 100 Thieves were definitely more impressive.
Yeah.
That's the thing here is like they're in a winning position in game 5, and you would think like with players like Bjergsen and Doublelift with enough playoff experience that should definitely be the edge.
It should be, but playoff experience doesn't mean anything. Like,
I think people do overrate that a lot. It's like each playoff is different from the other one you play,
because it talks about it comes down to adjustment. Like, playoff experience only counts in a sense where it's like you know how to wild up your plays before the game and after the game, but not during the game. During the game is literally each game is a new game. That's me. It was just one of those things where it's like, fuck. At that point, you just gotta be all right. Next season, we just gotta go back, figure out all the issues, figure out all the fucking problems. If I'm the coach, no more watching. I think we just don't watch the rest of the season. We just literally go solo queues 5 days a week.
Ryan said swap out Bjergsen. The problem here is like I would do that, but the issue here is Double's not gonna want that. Double's gonna be like, that's my friend. I believe in him.
No, this is what I do. I run it back and then I blow the whole team up.
I think after this split, closer is for sure done after this year.
I think
we know they're making a roster change. We just don't right away.
Oh,
if they run the same roster back, that's
no,
crazy.
No. The reason why, because 4 out of 5 players are gone after this year.
Oh yeah, I forgot the contracts are already up anyway.
Yeah,
might as well just run them out.
That's what I'm saying. You run
the thing here, dude, is that because by what you just mentioned, I don't think they would want to pay the extra fee to buy out another player to replace another player when the player's contract will be up.
The only player that can get replaced and they want to pay like a big contract to is Busio, because Busio is contracted for next year. You can swap him out.
Yeah, because I remember you said they were trying to set him up to be their franchise player.
In a sense, that's why you swap him out. It was like, okay, everybody else is going after this year. Like,
I have an idea. Maybe of something they might do. What if after this year, after summer split, maybe they might make the world results? I don't know about that. But what if, given how this year pans out, what if they actually put Busio back to being a mid laner?
That could happen.
What if Busio would be their mid laner after this year is over? They put him back to mid and they get an actual support, a support that could probably would do the job that they want a support to do better. Because I just don't think he's got it to be a support. I think he would function better as a mid laner. He actually has a mid laner's play style better.
Yeah, the issue is they hired Bjergsen, and Bjergsen, you know what Bjergsen plays support.
Oh, that's what he does right now, essentially.
I mean, as Zillion, he can be support. Anything else is just He's running it down.
That's why.
Like,
and then what do you? Because I think the problem is Doublefin Bjergsen in the way that they kind of want to play the game, and somehow
they play the game like it's still 2018, 2019. They still play that old style.
This is a style that's worked for them in the past that did get them success.
But this is not 2018 anymore.
Yeah, things have massively changed since then. Massively. People are not
no one's afraid of Double Lift back in the day where people all back. I wouldn't say people were afraid of him, but you knew Double Lift could come and just beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah, you got that mindset of like, man, if he just plays up to his game, I'm just gonna look like fucking dog shit.
Yeah, it's like you got because Sticks ain't afraid of you, but that's mostly because who he's in his ear telling him. Think about who he knows how Double Lift plays. That's me. You know he's, and plus you guys also already
who he's played up against Closer. That was their.
Yeah, who he played against Closer, who he and Stick both played against Double Lift before. It was like, and who he played with Double Lift, played against Beers. It's like you know the matchups already. It's like, and then you got Licorice out here saying, "Oh, the 7 game curse." Every time somebody gets to 7 games after that, they start to play badly and fall off. I'm like, okay. At this point, I'm like, I hope Golden Girls get fucking swept.
The next round, they're probably going to get fucking wrecked. No way they beat Evil Geniuses. It's already good on them to make top 4. This is their best placing ever. Yeah. But I think now it's only going to pan out one of two ways. If they make top 3, that's really good. But if you look at it throughout with the asterisks of how the season went,
did the LCS just looks even worse?
Yeah, because this team's looked like fucking shit when it started.
It's the top two teams.
It was okay, and then
think about it. It's the top two teams, and every team after that was a coin toss. It was literally
because you had the 3 teams that people had more or less so as the front runners to win the split: FlyQuest, EG, and Cloud9. But EG's was rocky throughout the entire split for the most part, outside of like some weeks here or there where they looked pretty dominant.
Those last few weeks when everybody got sick or one player got sick and then everybody had a quarantine. That was They just said fuck it. They already knew that they had 10 wins. They were getting to the playoffs. They already knew.
They're like, okay, we already did our due diligence.
They were 10-5 going into that final week. They didn't give a fuck. They were like, all right, cool.
For sure.
Because think about it, they knew T Liquid was hot ass, and TSM was damn near done. If TSM, what they said, once TSM gets to 9 losses, whoever got to 9 losses first automatically locked in EG, and that's all it was. It was literally okay. TSM, we'll have to see. Yeah, no matter what, they got locked in. They were gonna get locked in. It was like that. All right, cool, boom. Now you got EG playing better, a lot better. Just smoked the crap out of CLG. I mean, they smoked the CLG pack. That was. It's like, can you say Golden Guardians was better or worse than World Disease? Can you say vice versa? EG, CLG, which team was better?
Golden Guardians, because you even said they're more clutch. Because I would say probably
more.
To say.
You can't even say more clutch. It was like, was it clutcher or was Disease just not as good and they just
because the problem is that clutch or is that 100 Thieves? Because people are doing in that game that we just went over again. They're winning, and they're scared to fight the team that they're winning against at the Baron Pit with a Jinx that could free fire by herself with a Scion and a
free fire. You got two of the front liners taking shit. That's me.
And you get Beers and Talia. I mean, the only games he ever looked good on was Talia and Azir. I don't know why they never gave him Azir. Even if it's weaker on this patch, he played an Azir game when they started their win streak, and he actually looked not like an inhumane animal.
One of the 2 of the games weren't on the patch. I think they like LCS did so weird. They was trying to have all the games played on the same patch, but they fucked up. Had one game that was still on the old patch, and then they updated it. LCS was weird, I believe. It was some weird shit. Like Azir would have been a better pick for Game 4. Definitely Game 4, in my opinion.
I think that if his best champions are going to be Talia and Azir, I think you just toss it and you just I think you just give him Azir in one of these games because he played Azir in one of their games and looked good on it.
Yep.
My other thing is what do you really want to? What the heck? What the heck is this? Okay, so yeah, so people are talking about 100 Thieves and what they could do. If you got, I'd say, guys, I wouldn't going through their comment sections it's crazy there.
Oh yeah.
People said, "Oh, but I wanted us to have a different play style compared to the other double up teams." That was never gonna happen, guys. Come on, let's be honest here. They were gonna auto, like I said before, if they're not doing well, they would auto default into protecting double lift. Now, it benefited them a lot because the meta was just playing through your bot lane just outright. But yeah, just man, it's a struggle out here. I don't know what this team's gonna do to improve for next split because there seems like a lot of issues the team has, but we'll see. The Rocket has been grounded, but not forever. Summer next. Rocket never stops. Really need to figure out the identity of this team. No, they figured it out. It's just not very good, and people have just kind of figured them out. At the start of the year, it was we aren't just gonna play around double lift, and then we defaulted to exactly that. Now it's just double lift carry or else. Brother, how did we lose to Golden Guardians? How the team puts in work in the offseason, because this ain't it. Because the 100 Thieves game plan is draft hyper carry ADC, closer Wukong, Lee Center Vi, tenacity on a tank, the most one-dimensional team. Everyone knew exactly what they were gonna pick. Like, Spurs are playing Celtics. Oh, okay. 100 Thieves, maybe some academy players can give y'all the edge you need. They have academy players. They'll probably scrim them motherfuckers.
Nah, no.
Scrimming Elsius Academy people seems like just horse shit.
Oh, no, trust me. Apparently, these scrim them and they wax them. That's why there's no point.
Oh, no.
The main guy scrim the academy guys, and they scrimmed it, and they whacked the academy guys.
Oh, Lord, jeez.
You can't bring up the academy guys.
Yeah, if they're worse than what you already have at your disposal, then it doesn't make any difference, honestly.
Like last year, when the team from last year scrimmed the academy people, the only one that was actually decent that was it was Someday versus Tenacity. It was literally it depended on what champion.
The fuck.
It literally just depended on the champion, but like Tenacity did play. No, sorry, not Tenacity. Somebody did play Tenacity better on more champions, but like on certain champions that Tenacity played, it was just GG.
The misery. Yeah, it's God. Because it's not just one issue the roster has. It's like, what do you do with your rookies? And it's arguably when they came into the season, what do they want out of these guys? You know, Tenacity, hyped up solo queue talent, known for his carry top laners. But to be in the LCS, you do have to play a little bit more grounded.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. James is in Las Vegas. Oh, shoot. Okay. I'll just do it tomorrow myself.
James in Vegas?
All right. Okay, so that's taken care of. All right. So, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. It's time for us to predict for to wrap up today's show. We're going to predict for next week's top 4 matches, actually. Thursday, Cloud9 versus FlyQuest, and Friday is CLG, fucking EG versus Golden Guardians. If C9 managed to destroy FlyQuest, if they do, there's a good chance FlyQuest on paper probably should beat Cloud9 given what just happened.
I see Cloud9 3-2.
Yeah, I'm not surprised if FlyQuest do manage to beat them because they looked shaky in their series against CLG. I think, I would probably say 3-1 this time for the first series. I'll probably put it, Cloud9 wins 3-1.
Yeah.
I would say EG Golden Guardians.
I say EG 3-2.
I'm saying EG just 3-0. Flat out 3-0.
I say EG 3-2.
Wax them.
I don't think it's going to be a wax. It should be, but if JoJo's running the fuck down, it's going to be 3-2. EG. Because JoJo got to stop playing bullshit. He got to stop fucking trolling. This motherfucker be not checking wards and then get out and blow the fuck up. You're like, where's JoJo at? Yeah, His timer is 40 seconds. Yeah. Because he want to walk right through wards and motherfuckers is just hiding in bushes.
Yeah, that's the thing is CLG are sitting here thinking to themselves, you know what? How about I just saw 100 Thieves lose most of their Jinx X games. How about we just pick one, bro? I would say just the Jinx pick is becoming the same thing like the Lucian Nami pick. You know what I mean?
No, the Jinx pick is it depends on what your support is.
Oh
Because
my
it was the
lord!
same
Sorry,
thing
bro.
with it's the same thing with Power Fox played Aurelia Soul. The other player, no, Power Fox actually most of his soul cubes is Aurelia Soul. That's why he knows how to play them. Like, and then you have Beardred trying to play Aurelia Soul. Like, Beardred, don't play Aurelia Soul again.
Please no.
Ban that from your old pole. Do not play that again.
This man could barely play Annie.
He
Guys, I'm not even shitting you. This Annie was horrifying.
He wasn't too bad at 80. Like, where it was like,
you see when he's trying to land stuns?
yeah, that was bad. But
oh, God,
his Aurelia Soul, like, I played with an Aurelia Soul earlier. I had more kills than a fucking kid. I was like, dude, how you only got 2 kills with Aurelia Soul? He kept missing his fucking ult. So like, oh Jesus. I'm just sitting there like, okay.
Oscar so
This motherfucker, like, I was like,
also, next, it should be the next show. Maybe I might do a LCK. Maybe I might do an LCK playoff breakdown or recap from the series that I've seen, because I think I wanted to go over the Genji Hollow Life and T1 KT series because I'm going to see how the bracket is going to play out. Let me see what let me see how many days I'll have before I go over the LCK matches. Let me check LoL Esports really quickly to see how many days I'm going to have before I go over that. Because I actually wanted to cover the LCK. The only way to really cover the LCK is doing like the recap videos, but doing that for the LPL and LCK together is just a nightmare. I wish we could talk about more about LCK and LPL, guys, but good lord, there's a lot of games to play. Let's do LCK. Let's do the schedule. All right, take off LCS, take off LEC, and just put on LCK. Oh my lord, geez. All right, so what was today?
26.
So we have 2 more matches left. Okay. The next match is going to be the 31st at 11 p.m. Friday. Genji versus T1. It's a rematch of the LCK 2022 summer split playoffs. Again. It's always coming down to these 2 orgs, man. I'm rooting for my boys Genji. Will they win? I don't know, but because there's Peanut, and Peanut's fucking just psycho. Just God, actual good lord. So there's gonna be multiple series for me to go over. I have to watch KT Live Ass Box. No, that's a BO. Wait, is that the end of the regular season? The end of the regular season is okay. So this is the playoffs, which would be because Live Sandbox got the lowest seed, so they get knocked out. They'll have a double elimination. Okay, so I have to go over Live Ass Box versus KT. You have to go over Hama Life, D+, T1, KT Roaster, and Genji, Hama Life. So those are the playoff series I got to go over. Got to go over those 4 individual ones to do an LCK like playoff recap video so far before the 31st. I got a few days to look over the VODs and see how these guys are playing more effectively. But good, actual God. T1 are so lucky they have Faker. Faker is such a... See, that's what playoff experience really kicks in. If he's... as many playoffs as Faker has, that's what really kicks in. But anything else you want to go over, man? Anything else we missed? Actually, I think
not too much. Yeah, playoffs been fun.
I'll say like
fun.
Following all of these many games, like I like it, but it's just tiring.
It's tiring. It's a mostly like heartbreak. It was like fuck, like when your team loses on like the last play, you're like, it's like you're up and then like the last second the quarterback gets out of the pocket, throws the ball down, and the fucking wide receiver catches it. It's like, trust me, I've been on the opposite end of my teams will win it. They fucking lose that day. And you're like, oh shit. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I had the same thing with Cloud9 versus TSM in that spring split playoff matchup where they Cloud9. We went live to watch it, like I mentioned earlier, and Cloud9 went up 2-0, and TSM just reverse sweeps your main. I've never, because Cloud9 always did the reverse sweeping at that moment in time, and seeing TSM reverse sweep back after being that far ahead up, you're like, that one really hurt for some reason. I don't know. I was kind of sad for a couple of days with that shit. I was like, fuck, that actually fucking stings. And then, you know what happened when the summer split started that year? They lost again.
Oh shit!
Just man, that sucked. And it's crazy. Every single time we went to go watch C9 versus TSM, which was the big premier rivalry in the LCS, we always went when Cloud9 lost. Fuck.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I've always went when they won, but I've never went when they've beaten TSM, and they beat TSM very handily this year. So it's always nice to see. But yeah, guys, LCS and LCK recap videos coming soon. Been trying to work on dropping more content for you guys. This week will be a little bit hectic because I got to get ready to move toward not the end of this week potentially, but maybe the week after that. So life's going to be a little bit hectic. So I'm not too sure. Are we going to have a show next Sunday? I'm not sure. But if we don't have a show next Sunday, just if we don't, then we'll for sure have one on Tuesday. And if we have one on Tuesday, we'll cover LEC and the LCS together. If we don't have an episode coming up on Sunday next week, because I kind of want to start moving on Sunday or that Monday of next week coming up, you know? And then I got to also get my fucking wallet back. Hopefully, if it's not at this place that I think it's at, then it's just going to be some bullshit. But it's okay. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.